Howdy, folks. This is Ted Lasso, your favorite optimistic American football coach turned English football coach. And welcome to the Richmond Way, a Ted Lasso Rewatch podcast. So grab your biscuits, put on your AFC Richmond scarf, and let's embark on this journey together.
Hello again, everyone, and
hello.
Merry Christmas. There's no way to tell what time of the year we're actually recording this episode at all.
Yeah, no way to tell at all. Besides the fact that I'm sweating here in this sweater in Los Angeles, but it's fine.
Isn't that its intended purpose? Its
A
namesake
sweater,
is-
yeah.
Well, in the U.S., that's called a jumper in the U.K. So,
Jumper.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hardly know her.
There you go.
But
Mike gets
yes.
me.
Yeah.
This is a great intro. Hi, everybody.
Welcome, everyone. Happy holidays. Welcome, kind of back, because Tori, welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
So you joined us. If people remember our mega
Craziness.
Holdo maneuver podcast over
900
the
people.
podcast, there was like Ted Lasso and Star Wars. You joined us for that. Bonnie was also there, so that was kind of like our backdoor pilot for the Richmond Way. But welcome to the Richmond Way proper, Tori.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I thought this would be a very good episode for you to join us for, because I know. Well, for people that don't know, what was the podcast that you did during the season 1 through 3 of Ted Lasso?
So my husband and I had a podcast called They're Soulmates, and it was basically from the angle that we really thought that Ted and Rebecca would make a good couple. They may not seem like it at first because he seems a little quirky and she seems a little uptight, but I think once you get to know them, she's really kind of he's really what she's looking for. But we were wrong. I don't know if you guys know that. If you saw the end. How
But yeah, because I know, at least for me, like when I was watching it, that's where like that idea kind of started to come into it for me. Was like this could be a thing. And then Mike, this has become infamous now on this podcast. His first text to me after starting the show was, what was it, Mike?
When are they gonna bang?
Nice.
And then I immediately sent him a text to a link to your podcast.
I think you sent me a screenshot of that too. You know,
Yeah.
what's funny is that so I was a completely normal person and normal viewer until this episode. So I think this is really the
Oh.
episode where I was like, oh, wait a minute. I think because when he's sad, he's kind of attractive. And then when they're just sort of like really easily being in each other's company, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Something could happen here. So yeah, it was this one.
Nice.
Huh.
So
Sorry, just
Bonnie is not a TedBecca person.
I did see it a little bit in this episode, and I went,
All right. Huh?
I can
Okay.
see the potential, but it doesn't mean I like it.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally a personal. I think there are so many things that influence whether or not you're going to feel a certain way for two characters. You know, I think part of the reason too is like how my husband and I met is sort of, I mean, obviously I didn't try to ruin a soccer team. I had nothing at the time, but like we were friends for 2 years. And if you would have asked me in the first few months of knowing him, if I would have ever thought that I would date him, I would have laughed at you. And then something switched and now here we are married for 20 years almost. So I think
Nice.
like, you know, and I think too, if you don't find one of them attractive, it's a little harder, which at first I admit that like I had a little bit of like he's an acquired taste, Ted Lasso, I think. But I think once you kind of really get to know more about him, then he becomes more attractive. At least he did for me.
Nice.
I mean, my wife hates when I tell this story. Technically, we never dated because she never said yes to going out with me. And then here we are 16 years later.
Nice.
Just
Wait, did you just keep showing up?
I don't know. I don't remember the specifics. She kept calling me drunk when we were in college. So all of a sudden the phone would ring at 2 a.m. It'd be a drunk dial from her. And so I was like, we just kept texting. And she was like, we're not going to date. And then I moved to South Carolina with her when she went to school down there to finish up, and never dated. Just got married.
Nice.
there you go.
She hates
so
when I tell that story.
I don't.
It was
have
nice
any
of you to
stories
tell
like
it
that.
again.
No, I relish to tell it because it makes her upset. Because it's funny to me.
It's gotta be funny to somebody. Yes. I don't have any stories like that. But for this episode, it's for season 2, episode 4, Carol of the Bells. And this aired in the very festive time of year known as August 13th. So yes, that is when
I mean,
it was.
Christmas movies usually come out in November.
Yeah.
Never really on Christmas.
Still too soon.
I didn't
So
want them to come
wasn't
out at
this
all.
one of the 2 episodes that they ended up adding? Which I
Yeah.
think made it a little
Seemed like
awkward
it.
in the yeah.
The bottle
Yeah.
episode.
So this episode and then Beard After Hours later in the season are the 2 that they had to kind of add in after the fact of writing the other 10 episodes for this season, which it works in favor for this episode because like it can kind of be like a annual episode that you just kind of watch around the holidays, because this is the only episode I've actually rewatched a few times in the show. Like otherwise the other episodes we've been doing for this rewatch, those are like the first times I'm watching those episodes again while we're doing
this
the
show
podcast.
to me, now you say it, doesn't really lend itself to like, I'm going to watch this episode. It's like it feels like you have to watch them all.
Okay.
It's
Now
just my opinion.
I'll tell Tori how many times you've watched Ted Lasso 3.
I've watched the full series at least 5 times.
Yeah, that's respectable.
How
I
many
hadn't
times have you watched
watched
certain
anything.
movies, Mark?
All right. Yeah. What were you saying,
Same
Tori?
time for
I hadn't watched Ted Lasso since it ended. So this is the first episode that I've rewatched since it ended. And I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready to go back and watch the whole thing now again.
Yeah, it's been fun so far for us up to this point, like noticing
to this point.
things
It's not
To
funny
this
here and
point.
there.
Fall
Yeah,
downhill from here.
Well, I mean, we're about kind of sort of midway through season 2. But yeah, like if people go to richmondwaypod.com, like the 3 episodes I've listed there for my favorite episodes from the show are 10 lines in season 1 and then this episode in season 2. When we get to season 3, I'll tell you which season 3 episode it was. Or I mean, you can just go to our website and it's already there. So there's that too. But yeah, so yeah, it aired in August of 2021, and then the plot synopsis for it was: it's Christmas in Richmond. Rebecca enlists Ted for a secret mission. Roy and Keeley search for a miracle, and the Higgins open up their home. That's pretty much it. But yeah, how did yeah, easy for me to say. How did you guys like kind of like how this episode opens, like with the team there doing the Secret Santa in the clubhouse locker room, whatever you want to call it, wherever world you're from?
I really I think a lot of what I did like about this episode is how the team's being really sweet with each other. You know, in first season, there's way more tension between the players, and I think it was really nice to see them like celebrating Christmas. I thought it was cute that Colin knitted something. So I really like the way this opens, and it's also very relatable to people because you're used, like we see that in an office setting. If you still work in an office, you know, that kind of like Secret Santa. So I thought it was a nice way to open it.
Nice. How about you guys?
One thing I'll say is like it was confusing at first because the first shot is Colin with a turkey on his head. I was like, oh, it's a Thanksgiving episode, and then after that, it's like, oh no, it's a Christmas episode. But
It's a Friends episode.
it's a Friends episode.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Could I be wearing any more clothes?
I like this scarf. I
Mando
can put
doing
it.
lunges. Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
can put it around my alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I liked Isaac, wearing the Santa get up there too, like on
Mhm.
the throne, and then that they gave Will basically all the money in that box, which that'll be like a don't call back, call forward thing where eventually they'll do a box of money like that again. I believe, yeah, I think it's in the season 3 finale, but I remember they did something very similar to that with like giving money in a box like that. But yeah, I mean that whole scene there, I think that's the first time like Bumbercatch is really highlighted too. And then
he's been
like
mentioned, and I think when Jamie comes back, Bumbercatch, it's like it's the first time he really speaks because he's like, "You hit on my mom in front of my dad."
Yeah. And then like him saying that like knitting soothes him. But like the other like right after this scene too is like with like the others, like the coaching staff kind of exchanging gifts, and that's where like Nate gives Ted what will become an infamous picture, and kind of like a linchpin into it. So that's like another don't call back, call forward thing. Is the thing I like there too is that, and Beard's like, oh, and you wrote the inscription over my entire face and body, and then just like throws the. But yeah, like what do you guys think of like with that whole like scene? I guess like with the Jamie comes in there and all just
Of course, confused as to what Secret Santa is.
Mhm.
Yeah. First of all, I love Nate's little hat. I want to recreate that for Christmas. It's like, I don't know, a reindeer kind of with with like shades on. It's very cute. But I thought it was sweet how like kind of having a first in this episode where Nate mentions like, oh, it's my first Christmas actually having money. We know it's Ted's first Christmas without his family. And we'll see it later with Keeley and Roy being together. So I thought it was really cute kind of how we're getting a bit of that setup here, and they're all and I liked seeing Keeley hanging out in the office, which I don't and obviously Rebecca coming down, because I feel like up until this point she hadn't really been hanging around in the office. We see it more in the next season, I think, but yeah, it was a
She has
cute
her own
setup.
office in the next season.
Oh yeah. Keeley.
Oh yeah, Keeley.
Oh, you, Bonnie?
No, I thought it was I was like, what did I write in the notes? I would agree on a lot of the firsts, and how it was very interesting that they were all kind of going through something different. I just thought it was a pretty good, kind of like what we said, like a standalone kind of episode that you can watch, and it can be an annual tradition. Like I have episodes of other shows that are Halloween episodes or Christmas episodes or Thanksgiving episodes of other shows, and I feel like this is a great example of like when you want to watch a little bit for Christmas but you don't want to watch the whole season, you can just watch that and you're set. So yeah, I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, and the speed rapping there for
Yeah.
for his gift too.
Jamie, yeah.
And they
Like,
all
just-
kind of like help a little bit.
Higgins, look alive.
What are you doing? No.
A little magic pixie dust.
very Merry Christmas. A very, very Merry, Merry Christmas to you.
God bless me. Everyone.
Yeah,
Everybody puts a little bit into it. It was
it's like
very
Mhm.
funny.
Diamond Dog's the wrapping service, basically. And then
Do everything.
and it's still has a little that because Jimmy's not fully kind of reformed.
Nah, he still sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, God bless everyone. But
So
Oh.
when Beard mentions that he and Jane are going to a pagan thing at Stonehenge,
oh yeah,
I accidentally went to Stonehenge this past summer on the solstice,
okay.
but outside of like the extra thing that they do. But when we were leaving, there were people like lining up to be able, because I guess they open it up and you can get close to the rocks and you stay all night for the sunset and then you
Interesting.
party and then you watch the sunrise. And when I was
Wow.
there, I was like, oh my God, this makes Beard would fit in perfectly here. So it is great. It's such a great character call out for him to mention something like that, because that is totally something that he and Jane would have done.
And it's another don't call back, call forward too, with him and Jane going to
True.
Stonehenge.
Get
Yeah.
married there.
Yeah, considering they get
Yeah.
married there, which is probably also its own pagan ritual with that couple.
I thought that was a dream sequence.
I guess. Well, I mean, according to the Brendan Hunt's AMA, the day after the finale, it wasn't a dream sequence. So
Yeah, I think that's all going to depend on if there's actually a season 4.
yeah, if
Then
there's a
they'll
season
make-
4, then yes, it was a dream
It was a dream
sequence.
sequence.
If not, then it was real. But the other thing I noticed in this scene too is like in the background there when Beard's talking about like their ties. One of the I think it's the defense one. It says D nuts on the board. So just like just like subtle little jokes that are in the background that like don't super draw attention to them, but if you're just like looking around and you see it, you're like, I see you guys. I see what you did there. And then
Good background gags.
yeah, and then like they're they're talking about sexy Christmas there with Keeley and Roy, which is right when Rebecca comes in there too and starts talking about Elton John's Christmas party, which that's like where one of my favorite like quotes from this episode is too with Ted, where it's but that thing cuts off too quickly. It's the hold me closer, tiny Prancer, dancer, and Vixen. So I always like that when he says it in the episode. But yeah, like you guys were saying here too, is it's fun to see Rebecca down there interacting with them and Keeley, and it's just basically like seeing all of those characters interacting like within that space that we haven't really seen all of them down there at the same time. But I think that was pretty cool, just that it's kind of like a first within the show up to this point. That's not like really a common thing yet. Yeah, everyone's got to spend time together, sputtering cheer, and then it goes into the special opening that they did for this episode, which I think is it's like the only special intro that they did, because all the other ones are like the same one with Sudeikis as Ted walking through the stands by himself, but this one's the stop motion kind of Rankin's Bass claymation opening with like the sleigh bells kind of in the Ted Lasso theme there, and it's got all of the characters in there. And I think part of the reason they did this opening for this one too is because this is going to be a separate shorter episode that we're going to do, but the missing mustache like holiday special thing that they did, where that's completely the stop motion animation. It's like, oh, we have these, we might as well do the opening of the show with that for our holiday episode. So, and it's the only opening that has the entire cast in it and not just Ted. So it's a kind of a cool special thing too. Like, what do you guys think about like like I guess what the stuff.
Special-esque. Like
Yeah.
seems
Yeah.
anytime shows do something, they always have a Christmassy episode. They always have a theme. Like their theme changes for that episode. That
Yeah.
was fitting.
Mhm.
Or to try to do like the puppets like that.
I'm so trained to hit skip intro that I don't think I realized that Christmas thing had changed until I heard people talking about it and then went
Oh,
back
yeah.
and watched it.
I'm the same way. When we talked about Mandalorian and Hold On Maneuver, but you see that helmet in the end? Nope, skipped it. Sorry.
Those are like
Oops.
2 seconds.
Whatever.
Well, quick aside
2
to that,
seconds too long.
I always liked when it said to skip intro on the Bad Batch, and that whole intro itself is like literally a second long. It's the title screen. It goes. "Eh."
I push
So by the
skip
time-
intro every time.
The time you hit skip intro, it just moves you forward like one. It's not even it moves you forward a frame. So like, what's
One
what's the
frame
point?
I get back in my life.
Well, with how often you watch it, that one frame, that gives you more time to watch it again.
Right.
That's 30 more times you can watch it. That you get that one.
Every
second.
24 episodes is 1 second.
Was it worth it? Yeah. So then, yeah, this like after that opening, then it like goes into like Keeley setting up Sexy Christmas, and the thing that made me laugh there is like when she set all this stuff up is she's like, oh, maybe I'll just try a little bit of this chocolate fountain right here, and then she starts like licking the chocolate fountain.
That was an unfortunate screenshot you sent, Mark.
Yeah, I sent them a photo that I was preparing for this episode, and what the picture ended up looking like was just,
It's not pleasant.
it looks
It's
more
just
like
making out with it.
yeah, it doesn't look like it's her tongue. It looks like something is coming out of her mouth. Yeah, but I don't know. Raise your hand if you would also do this to a chocolate fountain. If it was your chocolate fountain and you were the only one using
yeah.
said chocolate fountain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I had to put those very, very specifics on it because if it's a communal,
Yeah,
one,
not
that
at a
changes it.
wedding, that's not appropriate. But if it's in
No.
your house, go for it.
I feel like it would be tough for beard to do that maybe. Because
Yeah.
just get all the chocolate in the beard.
Does he have a Gene Simmons tongue?
You'll have to ask Jane. But so like Phoebe shows up with Roy there, and I like when he walks in. He's like, "Oh, I guess you did not get my text," since Keeley is fully dressed for
Lingerie up.
not dressed for Sexy Christmas.
Yeah. She's ready.
Yeah, and then obviously this is 28th, the sexiest of all days. That's December 28th, since they can now not do Sexy Christmas. You cannot do Boxing Day. I don't remember what was wrong with the 27th.
Yeah, I think Keeley had something that day.
Okay, yeah. So then, yeah, that's why 28th, December 28th is so. If you're a Ted Lasso fan, Sexy Christmas is December 28th every year.
Yep. The sexiest of all the days.
For those who
Good to
celebrate.
Who recognize Sexy Christmas?
I think I had this in the notes later on, but I don't think it works for that section actually. But did you notice that Keeley has a leg lamp?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
From A Christmas
so-
Story, yeah.
Yeah, but I was looking it up because I feel like that's like a little Easter egg to Americans because I don't think A Christmas Story is very popular in the UK. Because it was barely popular here until it kind of became a cult classic later on.
Yeah.
So I tried to look it up and I couldn't find that it is like a super popular movie there. So I wonder if that was just kind of like a little American thing that they put in there because they knew that we would recognize it.
Possible.
Yeah, because I know, like with some of the stuff in there, it seems like they try to Americanize some jokes.
Yeah.
Like even them saying Merry Christmas, I feel is like Americanizing a little bit because I know it's more often
Yeah.
to say Happy Christmas in the UK rather than Merry Christmas.
Mm.
But yeah, I think that would make sense. Like then if that's just in there, like it could probably just be like one of like either like Brennan Hunt's or Sudeikis's or Joe Kelly, because Joe Kelly's the one that wrote this episode specifically. So it could just be like one of their like favorite Christmas movies, and they're like, we need to put this in there somewhere. So we'll put it right here.
Yeah. But it works for
According to-
Keeley's apartment.
Yeah.
I mean,
It fits-
house.
Yeah, it fits
Yeah.
like her like whole like vibe and
Mhm.
decorating that she would like do for that, and it fits Sexy Christmas.
True. Yes.
So there's
According
that.
to Ask UK Reddit feed, nobody in England's ever heard of this movie.
Wow.
There you go.
Except Keeley, unless she just liked the lamp and she was just like,
right.
I
She had
love
no idea. She didn't understand why it came in a box that said Fragile. She just put it up.
it's Italian.
Italian.
So
Which makes me
good.
think, is A Christmas Story popular in Italy?
I'm guessing.
I'm
no.
gonna say no.
Probably not. Poor Peter
Would
Billingsley.
be-
He had to help Tony Stark. Yes. So like, and that also, I would like to be Roy when I grow up. Just from the way he enters in this scene. I was like, all right, Roy. Even though Phoebe was there, he was like, he took full advantage of the way that Keeley was dressed to show that like he cared about it.
Yeah. I like how long it took him to notice though at first, because he was putting the things underneath the tree, and then he's just like amazed at how she looks. It was cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I made a note about that, and I said, oh, I don't remember where it is now. Character. Yeah. Yes, Roy, that's how you greet a lady, in all caps. Specifically. It's like, yeah, that's how we do this. Good job, Roy.
Nice. Yeah, and then so like from there we then go to the kind of Higgins family Christmas where like they've done this before, but this was pre-Ted that they've also been doing this before, where they'll invite the players to their house for Christmas, and they usually get like one or two that will show up.
Probably the new people.
Yeah. But then, so this one, I think this was like really the first episode that like highlights Julie and Leslie Higgins as a couple in the show too.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll do it again in the next episode, Rainbow. But like most of what we talked to Mary Roscoe about when we had her on the show was most of the stuff from this episode, I think, too, and from Rainbow. But yeah, it's just like all of the stuff with like Julie and Leslie in this is basically just Jeremy Swift and Mary Roscoe being kind of more or less being their normal married selves, having probably normal conversations that they'd have that aren't technically mic'd, but you can see them like in the background, like having a conversation. So, and it really helps this episode too, I think, with like showing like the chemistry between them. And they did a great job at casting their kids in this too, because since those aren't actually their kids, but especially that one kid that's just like fixated on Richard's date that he brought, and he's just like watching her the entire time.
Yes, he looks so much like little Higgins.
Yeah, I was like, I could see him being Jeremy Swift's kid. He looks like a young Jeremy Swift. Yeah, I like that the Higgins kind of do this too, like with this whole thing about inviting people over, and doing this kind of Christmas and making this whole thing, and the fact that it definitely was always going to have to be Sam to be the first to arrive to the party too. But I also like that he's also there because he's in the neighborhood and he really had to use the bathroom. Which I'm hoping he just drank a lot of water, and that's why. And it wasn't bad rice.
He also ate a lot of ice cream.
That's true too. So
I have this thing where once a character in a scene says that they have to use the bathroom, that's the only thing I can think of for the rest of the scene. So I kept waiting for them to let him to use the bathroom. Same thing at another episode where Ted says that to Dr.
Go
Sharon.
already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Know,
which is funny because then like by the end of that conversation, he's like, "But yeah, I really have to use the bathroom."
Yeah.
So like, where is it? So, and then I think this is also like where it then cuts to like Henry and Ted on FaceTime, and Henry has gotten Ted a magnetic dartboard, which
All right, let's see what we got here. Did you wrap these yourself? Because this is very well done. Uh-oh. Oh, boy. Is this what I think it is? Hold on here. Oh, wait a minute. Is this a tiny dartboard, or did I become a giant?
It's a mini dartboard.
Oh.
Do you like it?
That's very smart. No, I don't like it. I love it. Thank you. All right, your turn. Come on.
Which
open up.
I appreciate the thought, Henry, but like those magnetic dartboards don't ever work because like
Kids don't know any better.
well, because like those magnets aren't powerful enough. They're too small for what like you're trying to like do with it. So like that stuff's never gonna like unless you walk up to it and just place it.
right. Gently.
As you see when Ted throws the dart
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah.
And just
I was so annoyed with Michelle in that scene because like I understand that they're splitting up, but like I really think that she should have done a better job. I mean, I know it's a show, whatever, I get it, but she should have done a better job to get Henry to make sure that he got something thoughtful for his father who's spending his first Christmas alone.
Mm.
So, and I'm sorry, going back to, we see Rebecca kind of clock when Ted says what his plans are with Henry, and she kind of has this look on her face like that's not going to go well. And and then she also has a reaction when Higgins says that they only had 2 people last year. So I thought it was interesting that kind of Rebecca picked up on those 2 things when she was standing in the office.
Yeah, and that's also probably where she started thinking about like, because she says it to him later on that she's like she knew how shitty the first Christmas after being divorced was, so that she wanted to make sure that someone was there for him so that he wasn't lonely, and kind of gave him like so that he wasn't just like which I liked that. I mean, I guess kind of but it flows with what we're talking about. It's like where he's like, yeah, I could have spent the whole day there watching It's a Wonderful Life by myself drinking. Could have got real dark. So
You could have seen 3 ghosts.
Well, what I noticed too is that Rebecca shows up right as in the scene as someone is jumping from the bridge into the water.
Yeah.
So it's like like he hears the rock hit the window like immediately as you hear the splash in It's a Wonderful Life. So I thought that's definitely had to be like obviously done purposely, I feel like. But we also in this too is that Rebecca's like reciprocating. I don't remember what episode it was, thinking back now, but when the team wrote out "Hey" or "Hi, boss" on the field in their bodies.
She saw
Yeah.
it. She saw it.
She saw it. And then she wrote out "Hi, Ted" with the girl. I want to know how long that took her to do that, and then how long she was standing out there like that.
Where
She has
did
money.
Did
She
she go
paid
to
someone.
Michael's and get that tinsel, or did she just steal it from someone else's house?
Or just went to like the Crown and Anchor, ripped it off like the fence there, and
Yep.
just like. But yeah, like, and then like with them like going down the like the alleyway there, I liked that whole scene because you get the buskers again there.
Mhm.
And he's got that good joke where like he gives a little bit of. Do you remember what player he said that? But he's like that's what I get for taking a tinkle next to.
Oh, Holmes, the porn guy. What was his name?
The
John
porn
Holmes?
guy.
I didn't
Bill?
even know.
I
See,
almost wrote that.
I thought it was
one.
a sports guy.
No, it's
I don't-
John. It's John.
Yeah, no, he was a porn star. No, very well endowed, which I think is the
Interesting.
joke there.
Look at me being so naive and fragile.
I have a previous life none of you will know about, and that's okay.
Except if you join our Patreon at patreon.com/the Richmond Way. That's not implying anything if you. Anyways, so if you from there, kind of going back a little bit, like Henry got Ted the magnetic dartboard, Ted got him a drone, and then like you were saying there, Tori, like there's also like kind of like that inherent like awkwardness there with Michelle too. There's like, oh yeah. So okay, I'm gonna make an excuse to end the call now. So all right, goodbye. But yeah, I don't. It is interesting when they've been doing like when they play that a little bit on the show too. So I don't know. Like I don't know. Like what is your vibe with that, Bonnie?
What do you mean? Sorry, I'm a little confused.
Like
Yeah, I didn't
how?
follow that.
Okay,
do
it's
that
not
quite
just me.
often.
Okay.
I mean that's me in general.
No, what do you mean?
I'm saying, where I don't know, like sometimes like in how they frame Michelle on the show. Do you think that's inherently trying to make her be portrayed in a certain way, like between like the Make Rebecca Great Again episode with like really pushing the papers there, or like within this episode how it's like you were saying with helping Henry with the gift, or then like really trying to get off the call as quickly as possible after Henry's like left?
I think it definitely the show definitely more so takes Ted's side in things, and I think they do humanize her throughout the show, and they show that it was two people who ultimately couldn't make it work. But I do think it absolutely, they don't necessarily want to make Ted look bad and make him unlikable, so they're going to take his side of things and feature her in a more unflattering light more often than not, is what it looks like to me. Because I think if they didn't, I don't know what that would do to the show. So that's kind of how I see it. Was like they definitely. I don't think she's necessarily as kind as she could be on this, and I think that just adds fuel to the part with Ted being out there and being lonely and having a hard time. But that's part of his growth process and his character arc on the show. So, yeah, that's what I think.
I mean, she doesn't have to do anything. It's just
That's true too.
in the end, there's no fault in how she reacted. You're just feeling for Ted because he's
The title.
what's the show called? Yeah.
Yeah,
The
they don't
Richmond Way.
show her side as much, and so we're going to take his side more, I think.
And I do think they tried very hard most of the show to explain that Michelle is like done. Like she just, for whatever reason, this didn't work out. She is done, which I think makes it more confusing in the third season when then they start kind of shifting that a bit. So I think that they could have done a better job developing both her character and Henry's honestly, overall. Because, why does Michelle have to kind of be the bad guy in this, where sometimes marriages just don't work out for whatever reason? So I think there were a few times where they could have painted her in a better light, and we would have still felt for Ted, but maybe not like had contempt for
Villainized
her.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
like the last time she was with him, she's breaking down crying because it's so hard.
Right.
And she's trying.
Yeah.
And then obviously she's not there, and it's easier to just hang up the phone and be like, I can get away from this. You don't need to see me cry or something. We don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just hard because you don't see the other side. So you're meant to feel for Ted, and it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, like maybe if it was kept more like on the even keel of like what is done in tan lines like throughout, for which I guess would be harder like when she's not like actually physically in the same spot as him, like all of that, to try to convey that without cutting away to scenes of her back in Kansas with like Henry or something, like
Right.
more often. But then yeah, that doesn't feel like it's the same show at that point, maybe.
Yeah.
So, and then like the kind of like the next thing here too is like with when Phoebe shows up to Keeley's house with Roy there, she had a kid bully her, and I like when she brings it up. Roy's like, "What's his name?"
That was good, because I felt that way too when my daughters mentioned someone at school, or even my nephew making her feel upset. I'm gonna go beat this little shit, even though you're 5 years old.
Yeah, I remember that, like when Patrick was like little too, and like someone like you were saying someone was giving him. I was like, "What the hell is this kid's name?" I'll go to prison for kicking a kid's ass. I don't care.
I know you don't realize you have rage towards children until something
Other
bad happens to one of your
until other children are mean to your children. Or just children that you care about, I guess. They don't necessarily have to be your children. But yeah, so and then like this whole scene with like finding out like why like Phoebe was getting made fun of and like her rancid breath. Like just the like the visual kind of comedy of this scene really made me laugh. Like even thinking about it makes me laugh. Like first with like Keeley leaning in and taking a whiff of it, and like you can almost see like how her eyes are gonna start watering from it.
Oh, wow.
Oi! She feels bad enough.
I'm so sorry. I really tried.
I think you might be dying.
Watering from it, like almost like someone's poured like bleach in front of her, and she's like it's like getting into her eyes.
Great physical comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like with Roy's response to that, he's like, "She already feels bad."
But Brett Goldstein did a very good. It was like small acting, but you still saw his face melting, like the way it changes in that moment. Yeah,
and then he's just in the background, like as like Keeley's still talking to him. So I can only imagine what would have happened to Higgins if he had been there, since like he's the one that notoriously does the
the gag.
like the gags.
Yeah,
he probably just would have full on vomited, I would assume.
Probably.
Which that would have then just gone into a whole other like gross out kind of like comedy kind of thing at that point.
That little girl who plays Phoebe is adorable. She's so good.
Like especially when like the three of them are on screen together, because I think this is like they've had it a few times, like a little bit before, but this is really the first episode where like the three of them have like their own storyline together the entire time. And so the three of like Roy, Keeley, and Phoebe on like what I don't know if would you consider this the A, B, or C story of the episode, but like with like their whole mission of trying to find a dentist in the posh neighborhood. I just like that like whole thing that they go through there with that. But then like from this too, we then cut back to the Higgins party, and that's when Danny shows up with his food that he's bringing to like the Higginsons kind of what's the name of that usually, what is it, like a potluck, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think a
Potentially,
potluck.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe it has a different name in the UK, probably.
Oh, I'm sure it does. I don't know.
It's probably some that sounds cooler than potluck.
They're I feel like their names for things are so much more descriptive, so it's probably like bring a dish or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's or just like just more straight and to the point, like that, or it's like bring your own food.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like he brought the cheeky tequila. This is one of my favorite scenes with Julie Higgins too, where like she's like, oh, it's just like, Danny, it already smells like there's tequila. It's like, that's what makes it cheeky.
Again, according to Ask UK, there's many different terms.
So what is it?
There's buffet, fuddle.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
A Jacob's join.
Jacob's join?
Yeah.
That is not more descriptive, so I am wrong.
It would have been funny if it was a Jacob's joint, because then it'd be funny if like both things kind of like have some kind of weird connotation to be related to marijuana. And that would just kind of imply that like because everyone is bringing the food, they have munchies. And then you try to go down a rabbit hole. It's like, where did a potluck originally derive from? And then you find out it's like, oh,
Jacob's joint.
Yeah, there you go. Jacob's joint. It's like Jacob's ladder, but with marijuana, I guess. I don't know. Or it's just on the island from Lost. So, but yeah, it's this whole episode kind of cuts back and forth between these stories from like a lot too.
It's a potluck of stories.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. So like it cuts back to keep wanting to call her Hannah instead of Rebecca, and now I was gonna call him Jason. Rebecca and Ted, and she tells him that she's like, keep the hat. It'll be good.
Yeah, that was cute.
Yeah, and then did she have the elf hat on already at that point?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, she did?
Did she?
No, she had the driving cap
she had her,
on.
the driving hat.
Yeah.
She had a hat on. I just couldn't remember which one.
When did she put the elf hat on? Is that?
I think once they get to the first house, yeah.
Okay.
She puts the
She
hat
wasn't
on.
an elf yet.
Yeah.
Sure.
She drove herself. It was amazing. So.
The other
Christmas miracle.
I don't think I brought it up really when we were talking about the buskers, but I thought it was interesting. I think this is just like a Jason Sudeikis thing too, that he must just really love the movie once, or he is like tangentially connected to it in some way, because they bring up the movie once here with the buskers, and I know I think off mic we talked about Thundergong, but also the TV show Last Man on Earth, he plays Will Forte's brother, and in that there's a scene in Last Man on Earth where Will Forte and Jason Sudeikis sing like the most famous main song from Once together, like as brothers. And I think I've seen videos from a past Thundergong where Will Forte and Jason Sudeikis are singing that together. So I noticed that this time. I was like, oh, he must just like really really love that movie and just really wanted to make sure that it got like a mention in here. And I don't know if there's mentions of it like in other stuff. I just remembered the Last Man on Earth one specifically to it. But I just thought that was kind of like an interesting thing to note how much Jason Sudeikis must love the movie once.
Yeah. And isn't it also a musical now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Nice.
So he's probably also seen the musical, knowing how much he loves those.
Oh yeah. And then like from this at that point we get the I just like a lot of the B-roll in this episode too, because it just makes me think that Christmas in England looks like it'd be pretty awesome to check out. Just like all the decorations like around there, like for like all of the different holidays in England. Like I've like the one time that I've been there was like in January, like back in 2006. So they hadn't quite taken all of the stuff down yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember certain places still had a bunch of it up. It just wasn't lit up anymore. You could just be like, oh, there's where lights would have been turned on. Or they still. So I was like, I'm sure this would look cool if that was on right now, but it wasn't.
I haven't been that time of year, but I think London at Christmas time is supposed to rival New York City.
That would be pretty cool. I know that like for New Year's there too, they do like the countdown on the Thames there, like around the London Eye and everything, or at least from watching on TV. I think that would be probably be cooler to do New Year's there than New York probably too, because that feels like that spread out, because you can do it all along the river, where it's not everybody coalescing into this like one intersection,
right? With no bathroom.
New York City, yeah. And you stand there for 12 hours, and you're like, well, you gotta go to the bathroom. Nope.
No.
Well, if you ever want New Year's stories from Times Square, I know a guy who can talk about working there, who can happily share stories.
Oh my gosh, probably has nightmare stories.
Oh yeah.
But like, I just feel like I would be standing there and be like, I am straight up not having a good time.
No.
Like it feels like it'd be fun in theory, and in theory only.
Yeah. It would be fun if you were just like the Thanksgiving Day parade. Like if you're wealthy enough to be one of those people looking out from an apartment up high.
Yeah.
Probably a great time. But being down there in a diaper, probably not a great time.
Watching everyone lip sync
with your Planet Fitness glasses or something on, because Planet Fitness always sponsors.
Always sponsors. Yeah.
Because I mean, I see you Planet Fitness. You're going with the yeah. That's what you're doing.
But they also give you free pizza on Tuesdays at Planet Fitness.
And bagels.
And
so at least they used to with bagels. I don't know if they do that anymore.
Was he just like setting you up to fail?
Yeah.
It's a business model. You stay in business.
Why do they give you a Tootsie
I'm
Roll
not saying I agree
out?
with it. Yeah. Or they give you candy
pizza.
at the dentist.
Yeah, they do that. Yeah. It's like, here's a you didn't have any cavities. Here's a lollipop.
Go get some.
Yeah.
Work hard.
Come back and pay us. Yeah.
Come back so that we have to charge you $500 to fill your cavity.
That's what she said.
Wow.
Smaddy beat me to it.
Yeah. Even I said it and I didn't hear it. I'm usually aware of that to the point where it's like, all right, phrase it differently so that it can't be that for someone to be able to reply that way.
It's more fun this way.
Yeah, I failed. But yeah.
Or did you succeed?
Well, you know what? Speaking of wearing diapers, this is the
that
scene
story about that guy is going on the Patreon. I'm not sharing it here.
Oh,
you think I'm kidding?
No
Dating in LA is wild. That's all.
Oh wow.
No, I am 100% serious.
He's still wearing the diaper. Is that what you're saying?
He probably is.
All right.
I'm gonna get a text after this episode comes out. You were talking about me, be like, it's fine.
Nobody knows who we're talking about you except for you.
Mm-hmm. Anyways.
anyways, so the reason I said that was because Roy talks about pooping his pants here.
Eating so much ice cream at a birthday party, knowing I'm no good with dairy, that I pooped my pants on the bus
When is the story?
3 weeks ago.
You pooped your pants. Roy Kent.
Yeah? So?
I do too sometimes.
Here, and then Keeley's like, finish the story. 3 weeks ago.
That was one of my favorite quotes from this one.
Mm-hmm.
I like how you're like, oh, he's just telling her like, like a story when he was a little kid on the bus. But then my favorite, the best like kind of like follow up to the like yes ending of that joke is that kid's like, that answered was like, I do that sometimes too.
We're gonna try to be better together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so sweet. That's funny.
I like Roy's awesome. Like he's a good uncle, and like he's just it's like making that kid feel better about pooping his pants, and like he's like, if we can do this together, you can be good. And he's like, yes, yeah, we can.
I love the softer side of Roy, truly and honestly. I love it so
for
much.
sure.
Yeah.
I also want to see the conversation that happened when Roy had to go home and tell Keeley, because she heard the story that he pooped himself on the bus.
Chocolate fountain, anyone?
Actually, oh jeez.
Oh no.
Jeez.
This is not going to be.
Although did he come home that way? Or did he take care of it?
He was on the bus.
Was it on the team bus? And he took care
probably.
of it?
He's not on the team. This 3 weeks ago, he's not on the team.
That's right. Wait, why the hell was he taking the bus then?
Well, maybe no, he was probably on the team because like Ted takes the bus, right, with them places.
Oh no, this
he's
oh,
not
I'm
playing
right.
right.
This is when he's an announcer. Right.
It's not until next episode.
Oh yeah, that's a good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So he's just straight up on like a public bus.
Yeah, double decker.
Yeah.
An upper decker on the double decker.
There you go. Yeah. And he shat on a turtle. He was all 6s and 7s. Yeah. So, man, I feel kind of bad for the people that are on the bus with Roy, and for Roy.
So Keeley may have been on the bus with him, and that's how she knew the story.
Oh,
True.
Even worse.
I'm sure Roy would have told her.
That makes their relationship even better, because not the fact that like that happened, and then she wasn't like, you know what?
I'm good.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. Bye. I'll see you later. You take care of that yourself. But yeah, so and then like from that too, like we get it cuts back again to the Higgins house, and I like this whole kind of it's like this action scene like from a movie, and this is kind of the first time I feel like they highlight Zoro and Danny kind of as like good friends too. Like it'll eventually be highlighted again later on. But like this whole thing that where like it feels like an action, like a John Woo or like Michael Bay kind of like some kind of thing like that, where they're like saying goodbye to each other.
No doubts.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, right.
But then they go to get up, and then just one of the Higgins kids is like, "Eat Nerf," and it's just like one of those shots where it's like, "Oh."
I was thinking that was kind of a throw to Die Hard.
Yeah.
It's
There's like
movie.
that controversy of Die Hard being a Christmas movie.
Raise your hand if you think it's a Christmas movie.
I mean, I'd rather the Christmas movies be like Die Hard than what they are.
Yeah.
I mean,
you don't
definitely
like
it takes.
I don't like Christmas movies in general. Any
What about
Christmas
Christmas
movie, I don't care.
Vacation? No. Oh. Oh, you kicked him out.
Well,
I
it's
see.
me. Nope, not a fan of the Christmas movies.
You don't like Christmas Vacation?
Not really. It's not the greatest thing everyone makes it out to be.
You don't like Gremlins?
Gremlins really isn't a typical Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie. It's set at Christmas.
It
And
is.
it's
I'm not saying it's not.
and it has the very sad story of someone's dad coming down the chimney and breaking his neck, and that's how she found out Santa Claus wasn't real. Spoiler alert, kids, if you're listening to the Richmond Way.
Why are you listening to that? It's not rated for kids on YouTube.
I don't know. Just think of, yeah, because then we won't be able to have comments. But you just, man, that would be so freaking traumatic. All right. You don't like Elf, though? Or Elf? No?
I didn't say I didn't like it, but I just
Home
don't like
Alone?
Christmas movies.
Home Alone?
Home Alone's
Batman
not a
Returns
traditional
is a Christmas movie.
That's true, too. Batman Returns.
It's my
Oh.
favorite
Talking
Christmas
about
movie.
traditional Christmas
Oh.
movies.
8 Crazy Nights? That's not a Christmas movie.
That's not a Christmas movie.
I know. Do you like 8 Crazy Nights?
Not really. No.
Bonnie, do you like 8 Crazy Nights?
Oh, you say that to the Jewish person here. Thanks, Mark. This is anti-Semitism. I'm logging off.
No, it's not. Adam Sandler's.
I know.
Adam
I know.
Sandler's like, yeah.
You go,
Injecting.
Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler.
I keep showing up, and I don't know why, but
I'm very bummed. You make me sad.
I make most people sad. It's okay.
No, you don't. Shut your. You be nice to my friend Michael Soren with a J for the middle initial.
I'm okay making people
That-
sad.
It has to be clarified that you're Michael J. Soren.
Talk
What
about
about
a grown man who
Thanksgiving
poops his
movies?
pants.
You like Thanksgiving movies?
There's not many of those.
What thing? I don't say
Like
what
Trains and Automobiles.
But yeah, I think that's really the only one.
I haven't
then
watched that in forever, so I don't
Eli
remember.
Roth's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, no. Eli Roth just can go in the dumpster.
Thanksgiving knew exactly what it was, though. Like, if people haven't seen the movie Thanksgiving, I would recommend that. Though by the time you're watching this, it's post Thanksgiving. I would still recommend watching it. Just
Yeah, Thanksgiving gets more TV episodes than movies,
I think yeah. There's what is it? I think
and they're mostly the same.
isn't that Mixed Nuts movie or with Steve Martin or
Are
like
you watching that porno with that John guy that you were?
I don't even know who the hell
I-
that guy was. I think I was the only person on this episode that didn't know who the hell
I didn't
that
know
guy
who it was.
Wow.
so-
All right. Yeah. Yeah. See, I don't know.
You got nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, man, that just blew my mind with that you don't like any of those movies. Well,
My
you know,
favorite.
speaking of,
I think it's
Christmas
because
movies.
people force you to watch them
I'm not
when you
gonna
don't
force.
really want to watch them.
I don't force people to watch.
So then you're just like, I don't like this
I ask
because it's
for
not
consent
against my will.
if you would like to watch this movie, and if you say no, then I will not show you.
But
that
that's not what
movie.
Christmas movies are. Christmas movies are always just shoved down your throat because it's Christmas time.
I mean, you heard
See?
the 31 Days of Halloween.
31 days.
Yeah.
Of who celebrates Halloween in America besides Bonnie?
Also,
But
it's 31 nights
people
of
love it.
Halloween. Thank you. I celebrate Halloween
Halloween-
in April.
People are like all the stores are trying to just push Halloween out. If you haven't noticed,
Halloween is not a holiday for Bonnie; it's a lifestyle.
it's a lifestyle.
Exactly. Exactly.
I've seen her dining room.
hmm
It's Beetlejuice themed.
It is. It is. And I have a coffin bookshelf. And it freaked out the movers when they were moving us. They were like,
It's a
"Oh."
bookshelf. It's a bookshelf. There's not bodies inside. Well,
What I do
not-
with it is my business. That's all. You
Yeah.
take out a couple shelves inside. You can't fit
Who
somebody
says you
in
have
there.
to sleep in a coffin forever? Who says? You can
Vampire
buy them in a
rules.
food pack at Costco. Might as well.
Yeah, there you go.
Hmm.
But yes, speaking of Christmas movies, Roy does the whole Love Actually sign idea, or has the idea to do that. Also,
Roy
really
or
quick.
Keeley?
Well, it seems like it's like a shared idea because he asks the dude for markers and
Yeah.
the white card things. But I really like this shot right here though too, because it feels very like almost like Wes Anderson-esque with like how they're framed in front of the pharmacy there with like the neon light and how the whole shot is kind of lit, like also like with like what color their costumes are and stuff. And it's like one of the prettier shots that of this episode is just it stood out to me, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that whole like that scene there with the like the white cards of trying to get and then the kid's actually not.
I'd still rather see Roy like hit the kid with a pie or something.
A chocolate pie, a mud
Doesn't
pie.
matter what kind. Just
Would it be a homemade mud pie that Roy made himself?
Oh,
like from The Help.
Yeah, I understood that reference. Okay,
I understood that reference. He says
maybe it's a
Either
pecan pie, because it has some nuts in it.
a little corny.
Yeah.
Would have been cool though to see Roy. It would have been, I think, more satisfying to see Phoebe just knock him out, the kid. Because then if it's like a kid hitting another kid, like you're like, oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
okay, I guess. Or like when instead of like the thumbs up, if she had just went like, that would have been amazing.
That would have been great.
Although she's like,
I would have loved that.
like so against it. She's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Still would have been funny.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Still would have been funny, even though she's against it. But it's her Uncle Roy, so like, it's gonna slip out. I don't know.
Yeah.
If my niece did that, I would laugh so hard. I'd be like, "You're not in trouble with me. It's cool."
Yeah. Yeah.
This is why I'm the favorite.
It is intrinsically true that Bonnie is good people.
Mm-hmm.
Who will cut you?
What? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you said you were gonna cut. Wait.
No.
Who will? Who
She
can?
might.
Not will.
Oh.
Only
Yeah.
if you deserve it.
Yeah, like I'd like to think I give off like Ewok vibes. Like I'm cute, I'm little, I'm cuddly, but like I can fight you.
I'll eat you.
Yeah.
And you just happen to have like a dress that would be appropriate size for like a woman that may randomly show up into your tribe, which doesn't mean that you ate a human
How'd you
that
get
was
the
that
coffin?
same size
saying.
before that visited your tribe. That doesn't mean that.
If you want to know the answer to this, please sign up for our Patreon, where I will give you all the insights into my Ewok lifestyle and the diaper guy, and how I came to have a dress the size of a lady who entered my village, and we definitely did not eat her.
And remember, she can cut you.
Yeah.
Baby knife. But yeah, so, and then, like, what did you guys think of that scene? Like, the whole kind of like Love Actually scene, but outside of like not beating the kid's ass, Bonnie.
I was the one who said it first. I wanted to see
Yeah.
the kid get...
Somebody blames it on me. Whatever. It's fine.
I thought it was sweet.
I mean-
I don't like Love Actually, which I know people love it, but I thought that it was a cute nod to that, and it was cute that Roy expressed his anger in a different way.
Okay. Love Actually is the sequel. No. But yeah, yeah. I don't know. That one kid that was in that like doesn't seem like he has aged at all. Like his face looks exactly the same years later. Because when he showed up on Game of Thrones, it was like that kid just looks exactly the same as he did Liam Neeson's kid in Love Actually. I don't know what. I don't remember. I think it was in the Maze Runner movies too.
He wasn't taken.
No, he was not taken. Maggie Grace was taken, and then she became
Multiple
lost.
times.
Yeah.
She was lost and then got taken.
That's true. Shrek
Either
did
way.
reverse it, and then she
So-
became The Walking Dead.
Yes, that's the only place I know her because I've never seen Lost.
Mm.
It's okay. So when we cut back to like the Higgins house here too, when Higgins is naming off all the cities there for the different members of the team, I don't remember where I saw this, but I remember it being that like he's actually naming off the actual cities that each of the actors that are playing those characters are from.
Yeah.
In real life. So I always thought that's kind of like a cool little like nod in there to be like,
It's wholesome too. I love that.
Yeah. And this is where like one of the best quotes from the show comes to is like,
to the family we're born with, and to the family we make along the way, and most importantly, to Richmond.
Like his whole thing. I wrote it down. I want to make sure that I get it exactly correct. To the family we're born with, and to the family we make along the way, and most importantly, to Richmond.
Yeah,
And
I thought
good old Higgins.
that whole storyline was sweet because we saw earlier how the team kind of treated Higgins, which I think is the way the team treated everyone under Rupert. And so now you can tell that they have like a true affection for him. And we're happy to spend the holidays in his house, which was really sweet.
Yeah. And I noticed here too that
Oh boy.
My cat just knocked something off the shelf. Sorry.
no
Sounded
worries.
like a firecracker.
That was awesome. That's staying in the episode.
Shots fired.
That was awesome. Sorry, it threw me off.
Sorry.
It's all good. What was it? Oh, yeah. I liked when they pan over the table there. You can see Zero, like the dish that he brought was poutine. But I wonder if it was midnight poutine. It just
Cat took out the camera.
It just looked really good. That poutine is what I'm saying. It's like I would like.
You're just hungry. It was dinner
Yeah.
time.
I would like a bowl of poutine, please. There used to be a really
Gotta
good
go to
poutine
Quebec.
place that was here in Arizona that was called American Poutine, which is probably why it didn't do well, because American Poutine is not the same as French or French Canadian poutine.
We're just going to the border for some French fries and gravy, sir.
Just give me some cheese curds, please. I just want some cheese curds. They're not the same at Culver's. But I also liked that this episode did give another reason for us to hear Hannah Wanaham sing again as Rebecca, and then we got Ted singing there too. So, and then Higgins slapping the bass again.
Slapping the bass.
Like slapping the bass.
Yeah, I don't think we touched enough on how cute Ted and Rebecca were out delivering the
we
gifts
didn't really
to all
talk
those
about
kids.
Oh yeah. The one quote that I liked
Glossed right
there too
over
is
them.
when they were out doing that too, is that kid's like, Mom,
There's some white people.
there's two white people at the door and they're smiling.
It's so funny.
I also love when the little girl's like, "Do I smell notes of Beijing?" Like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
little kid's really gonna say that?
Yeah, she's like, that kid's in improv. She's yes ending.
Yeah, she's yes
Ted.
ending.
She's like, he's like, there's smells some of the Himalayas down there. She's like, all right, I'm gonna help you out here, my friend. Yeah, like,
But it was nice to see this side of Rebecca because we've forgiven her at the end of season 1, but it just added another, like, you're like, oh, she's kind of squishy inside and always has been. We just didn't really get to see it yet.
Yeah, I really like. I don't know why we kind of. I mean, I guess that's kind of sort of me. But yeah, I liked with like all these scenes that we do have with them. You know, like with them, it's like them talking, and her talking to him about like she knew like how lonely it would be on his first Christmas outside of being divorced there, and then just like generally bonding over like the different stuff during that. Whether it's at busking or or just like them talking about like the Daniel Craig Rachel Weisz stuff at Elton John's party. She's like, I don't really want to see them do that. I just want to. It's an hour and 15 minutes into this. She's like, I just want to see them fuck.
That was one of my other quotes. I realize now all of my quotes were dirty though. Sorry.
I mean,
that's okay.
That's okay. As long as it's not in the first 5 minutes of the podcast, you can say whatever you want.
All right, nice.
Well, I guess within YouTube guidelines of, but and if it's outside of YouTube guidelines, you can find that stuff on patreon.com/The Richmond Way. Also, Santa Claus and Rudolph are canon in the Ted Lasso universe. They exist. Higgins' kid saw them. They exist.
He was drunk.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe he had the cheeky tequila.
The Jacob joint.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
Jacob
the
joint. There you
Jacob
go.
joint and the cheeky tequila. And that, you do that, and you'll see Rudolph and Santa Claus 365
all day long.
Yeah.
I
But-
thought Sam's explanation to the one son was really, or to, I think it was that son. You know, it's not about speed; it's about endurance.
Oh yeah.
With Santa Claus making it to every house, so that was really cute.
Yeah, which there's like a good kind of tie-in and like point of view for like a footballer because it just basically make it like to align with like what you'd have to worry about in your profession.
Mm-hmm.
And that does make sense too, because it is a bunch of different time zones that they'd have to travel through. So he's basically, if he goes the right way, he's basically getting that hour back each time,
Mm-hmm.
or however many hours back that he goes again. So he
Yeah, because he would start in Australia and
Yeah.
then keep going back. Just like New Year's.
Yeah. pretty cool. And then so like we've like for the character highlights, I had Ted and Rebecca in here for that, like with their escapades, delivering gifts and whatnot, and then the whole Higgins I mean, really, I didn't put the Ryan, Keeley, and Phoebe thing there, but really each of the main stories of the episode were character highlights. I feel like for this, because it's like this one is very, very character heavy. I mean, there's plot to it, but it's like very character driven, more so than maybe some of the other episodes so far. But what did you guys think? Like, was there anything else that kind of stood out to you as far as like character highlights in there, like specifically like from any of those stories at all?
I thought it was sweet that we saw like Keeley, how close Keeley and Phoebe are too.
Yeah.
In addition to Roy, like she's really stepping up as the aunt role. Also, yeah, I can't think of any other ones right now.
How about you, Mike or Bonnie?
I mean, I feel we covered them all. I mean, just the highlight one for me, besides Keeley and Phoebe, would have to be Rebecca and Ted. The opposite roles they kind of played in this one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about other character moments, but I really like the idea of this episode being about chosen family and found family. You know, you have the team being or blood family, and then chosen family. I know what I'm saying. But you have the team becoming more like a family, and they're all going over to the family's house and doing that there. Like I've thrown events like that before, and there have been holidays where I wasn't able to see my family. And I think those are some of the best evenings you can have when you can't be with your people for whatever reason. You can still make the most of it. And, you know, and then we have, like you guys just said, we have Keeley becoming more of like an aunt type figure to Phoebe. And that's, you know, that's by choice. That's not by blood. So I just think there's a lot of really nice, wholesome moments in this episode that are really cute. And it was worth putting on a Christmas sweater in September for.
Yeah. And then like I pretty much already said most of them. Like I think I did say all my quotes from it. I know, Bonnie, you had one for between Higgins and Sam about
Yeah, back home, what does Christmas make you think of? Colonization. Of course. Just, it was like protect Sam at all costs. I just thought that was so fun.
Yeah, I
That's
like
just
that.
funny. Yeah.
I liked how that was like in the same vein as like when Ted went to give him the little army man. And he's
Yeah.
like, I'm okay. It just reminds me of imperialism.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think you had some on there too, Tori.
I think I have. Did we talk about when the guy calls Ted a wanker and Rebecca's all upset and she's like, he says, yeah, it's an inside joke, mostly inside him.
Yeah.
But I think the other ones we already talked about because it was the pants pooping and the wanting to watch Daniel Craig and Rachel Weisz fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the soundtrack for this one I think had the most songs in it.
Had a lot.
Like, yeah, it's all Mike's favorite music. It's basically like a Christmas
white
music
noise
jukebox. They had Malakali Kimaka. I'm gonna still read them off really quick. Have yourself a merry little Christmas, little Saint Nick. I'll be home for Christmas. Last Christmas, Santa baby. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas Carol. The Bells. Name of the episode. Up on the housetop. Fairy Tale of New York, and Christmas baby, please come home. So that's all of the soundtracks for this. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for the episode. Tori, is there any place that people can find you online if you would like them to find you? Still, if you want them to check out
if you'd like them to find you,
if you'd like to check out the backlog of your episodes.
Yes, I still have the Twitter account for it's TedBecca Podcast at TedBecca Podcast. It's for They're Soulmates, and our episodes are all still up on anywhere you can find podcasts. If anyone is interested in watching for the first time and thinks Ted and Rebecca are kind of cute, come join us.
Yeah, I really enjoyed your podcast. I'll say.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Like no matter what the outcome it was like, and I just thought it was done really well. So I would suggest anybody to check it out, whether you're TedBecca or non-TedBecca, because it's still a good listen to listen to, whatever side you lean towards for that. But
thank you, and thank you for inviting me here because I haven't done this in a while, and this was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yay.
Of course, yeah. And then for Bonnie, where can people find you for your stuff online?
My
Right
website it is right there. That's VO Superhero. If you're listening, it's VO as in voiceover, not BO as in body odor. And all my links are there.
That always makes me laugh. The body odor thing. Which is a good way to make people remember your website by saying that too at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You should also buy the website BO as in voiceover, not BO as in bodyodor.com. That would be very long, but it would also just be kind of funny to own that. And people would definitely spell part of that wrong at some point in typing it all out. But it would still be funny. And then just have it redirect to VO superhero.com. And then for us, for all the episodes before this one, and then if you're watching this in the future, all the episodes after this one, you can go to richmondwaypod.com for all of every episode, and there's also links there for the Patreon, so you can check out the interviews we've done with Julie Higgins, Mary Roscoe herself, with Kip Smedley, who did the audio design for the show. By the time this episode has come out, also with Paul Cripps, who did the production design for the show. And also by the time this episode has come out, you could also listen to an episode with Billy, the CEO of Steps of Faith Foundation, where we talked to him about that, and pre-Thundergone with him too. And Mike also messaged me during this episode to if you've been noticing this entire episode, it looks like my hat is going into the seat.
Here at the right angle, it just looks like your head just continues.
But that's only a visual treat for people. No, I noticed it now. I want to kind of keep my head in that spot so that it looks like
now you got it lined up perfectly.
Yeah. That's
like
only
an
a visual
old-timey
treat.
helmet.
Oh yeah. It's like a nice little, but then my hands go up there and it doesn't do it. But yeah, that's what you get when you listen to or watch the YouTube channel. It's like, anyways, happy holidays for, we won't say what holidays those are to anybody. That's,
Very happy.
Yeah. Whether your name's Jack or Sally or, you know, you live anywhere here between October and December. Thank you for listening to the Richmond Way, everybody. Bye.
Thanks all.
So until next time, folks, be curious, not judgmental, and keep rewatching. This is Ted Lasso signing off. As the man once said, the harder you work, the luckier you get.